A federal court has ordered that a rare ancient artifact known as the Gilgamesh Dream Tablet must be surrendered to authorities.
Tomb of the giant Gilgamesh discovered after the Euphrates River dries up. Return to ancient territories cradled by the mighty Euphrates River, where a surprising find has surfaced from its dried-up banks. The Euphrates River, once a lifeline for Mesopotamian civilizations, has revealed the mysteries of a bygone past. A German-led expedition discovered the ancient city of Uruk, steeped in myth and tradition among the ruins of a bygone era. However, the story does not finish there. Let's delve more to understand what has been going on. He who saw the deep, the country's foundation, who knew, was wise in all matters. Gilgamesh, who saw the deep, the country's foundation, who knew, was wise in all matters. He, everywhere, and learned of everything, the sum of wisdom. The Euphrates River, which was once a vital artery for a highly developed civilization, has just been found to have exposed remnants of a vanished world. As the river's waters receded, treasures that had been buried for a long time began to surface. These treasures provided insights into the splendor that existed in the past. An ancient civilization's inventiveness and level of sophistication were on display in the metropolis of Uruk, which included sophisticated canal systems and lush gardens as testaments of this. However, while the expedition team was excitedly searching for answers, geopolitical events were taking place which overshadowed their search for information. Because of the disruption caused by the invasion of Iraq, they were forced to stop their investigation and, as a result, they were forced to evacuate, leaving behind a treasure trove of mysterious secrets. However, in recent years, the drying up of the Euphrates River has offered a paradoxical opportunity, unveiling new truths that remain mainly buried within the bounds of war-torn regions. This has occurred as a result of a combination of factors including climate change and human activity. It would appear that the river is home not only to the relics of long-vanished civilizations, but also to the secrets and lies that certain people may have determined to keep hidden. In the middle of all these revelations and cover-ups, the fact that the Euphrates River was brought up in connection with the emails from the State Department creates a sense of mystery. Is it possible that there's a link between the old river, the tomb of Gilgamesh, and the enigmatic references to the Gilgamesh resurrection chamber and the buried Nephilim? If so, what may this link be? The intertwining threads of ancient mythology, historical research, and covert objectives collide, beckoning us to investigate this uncharted territory that lies beyond. Archaeologists from Germany plan to go to Iraq in 2003 when they believe the country will have returned to normalcy to investigate whether or not an anomaly in the ground is indeed the lost burial of King Gilgamesh, the legendary subject of the world's oldest book. The team, which is directed by Germans, believes that it has identified indicators that may link in with a description in the book that describes the location of the king's burial place. In spite of this, the specialists are adamant that the probability that they've located the burial site is still merely a theoretical possibility at this point. According to Jörg Fassbinder, who works at the Bavarian Office for Historic Documents and Monuments in Munich, which is located in the southern German state of Bavaria, tests conducted at the site of the ancient city of Uruk showed elements of some form of construction. It could be a grave, he speculated. The fact that the construction seems to be located on the spot where the Euphrates River used to flow has piqued the interest of certain archaeologists. According to the Epic of Gilgamesh, which is a collection of clay tablets with inscriptions that were written some 2,005 years before the birth of Christ, Gilgamesh was buried beneath the river, which separated after he passed away. It is believed that the construction was built on an old canal that was part of the Euphrates River. Mr. Fassbinder stated that there is just one location in the area where there is a building structure. Nevertheless, the majority of the area has not yet been investigated. He cautioned against having an overly positive outlook. Although it is possible to conclude that we have found the tomb instead of the grave, we have not located it. It seems like a dream come true, but there's a catch. During the testing, a magnetometer was utilized, which is a device that can uncover remnants of structures such as walls and houses by locating man-made things buried beneath the earth. The ruins of Uruk can be found in a marshy area approximately 300 kilometers south of the Iraqi city of Baghdad and approximately 150 kilometers north of Basra. At the height of its power, it was most likely the most beautiful city in the world. It preserves some of the oldest signs of writing, as well as signs of dwellings and gardens, along with an advanced canal system. The city, which gave its name to the present nation of Iraq, flourished as a result of trade connections between the Indian Ocean, the Persian Gulf, and the Mediterranean Sea. Some of the descriptions of Uruk's architecture that may be found in the Epic of Gilgamesh have been verified thanks to the mapping of part of the city. The collection of poetry is widely regarded as both a literary masterpiece hailing from ancient Iraq and one of the most important and influential works ever produced anywhere in the globe. It depicts the story of the legendary hero Gilgamesh and his quest to find the purpose of life and, along with that, immortality. Gilgamesh was known for his many acts of valor. There is a connection between the account of Noah's Ark in the Bible and a portion of the epic that describes a catastrophic flood. However, there is some debate as to whether or not Gilgamesh ever existed. Even though he is the focus of the epic, other myths about him attribute to him the sort of supernatural abilities that would befit someone who is regarded as a demigod. Ricardo Eichmann, a member of the German Archaeological Institute, dispelled rumors that the grave of Gilgamesh was soon to be uncovered. It was problematic, according to him, the anomaly that was identified by investigating the magnetization of the soil. He cautioned that attributing it to Gilgamesh was pure speculation and suggested that the construction could date back to the millennium before Christ, which is approximately 1,500 years after Gilgamesh. He compared it to the idea of stating that the fabled Lord of Camelot, King Arthur, actually existed in the real world. We don't even know where the river ran at that time, he continued, explaining that it had altered its path over a period of several centuries by as much as several kilometers. In any event, because of the ongoing war that the United States and its allies were waging against Iraq, the archaeologists will not be able to return to the site in the near future. A group had hoped to make their way back in February. Mr. Eichmann stated they had high hopes of going back someday, but it was highly improbable that it would happen that year due to the current climate. In the meanwhile, they intend to organize security around the location in order to protect it from potential looters. Gilgamesh's legendary deeds have been woven into one or more lengthy epics by the time of the Old Babylonian period from about 1830 through 1531 BC. A scribe by the name of Sin-iki-Unnini wrote the Epic of Gilgamesh, the most comprehensive narrative of Gilgamesh's exploits, in Akkadian during the Middle Babylonian period from about 1600 to roughly 1155 BC. A collection of 12 clay tablets from the 7th century BC that were discovered in the library of Ashurbanipal in the Assyrian capital of Nineveh contain the most complete rendition of the Epic of Gilgamesh. The epic has only been preserved in fragments, with many of its components being lost or damaged. Some academics and interpreters decide to fill in the gaps of the epic by using passages from older Sumerian poetry or different renditions of the Gilgamesh epic discovered at other locations throughout the Near East. Gilgamesh is portrayed as a cruel, repressive king at the poem's outset. This is typically taken to mean that he either subjects all of his people to forced labor or that he subjects all of his people to sexual oppression. The callous Gilgamesh is punished by the deity Anu, who makes the untamed Enkidu. Enkidu goes to Uruk to meet Gilgamesh after being trained by a prostitute named Shamhat. Although Gilgamesh ultimately prevails in their wrestling bout on the second tablet, he is so moved by his opponent's fortitude and power that they end up becoming good friends. Enkidu is Gilgamesh's servant in older Sumerian writings, yet in the Gilgamesh epic they are equal-standing friends. Gilgamesh and Enkidu visit the cedar forest, which is guarded by Humbaba, Huwawa's Akkadian name, in tablets 3 through 4. After traversing the 7 mountains, the heroes arrive at the cedar forest and start felling trees. When confronted by Humbaba, Gilgamesh becomes terrified and cries out to Shamash, or Utu's name in East Semitic, who responds by blowing 8 winds into Humbaba's eyes to make him blind. Despite Humbaba's pleading for mercy, the heroes still decapitate him. Gilgamesh returns to Uruk for the start of Tablet 6, where Inanna, known as Ishtar in Akkadian, approaches him and asks that he become her consort. Gilgamesh rejects her, claiming that she harmed each and every one of her previous partners. Ishtar demands the Bowl of Heaven from her father Anu in retaliation, and she then sends it to attack Gilgamesh. After killing the bull, Gilgamesh and Enkidu present Shamash with its heart. Ishtar stands up on the walls of Uruk and curses Gilgamesh as he and Enkidu are resting. Enkidu rips off the bull's right leg and hurls it in Ishtar's face, saying, "If I could lay my hands on you, it is this I should do to you, and lash your entrails to your side." To lament for the Bull of Heaven, Ishtar gathers the crimped courtesans, prostitutes, and harlots. Gilgamesh celebrates the demise of the Bull of Heaven in the meantime. Enkidu opens Tablet 7 by describing a dream in which he witnessed Anu, Ea, and Shamash order that Gilgamesh or Enkidu must perish as retribution for killing the Bull of Heaven. They decide on Enkidu, who shortly becomes ill. He passes away after having a dream about the underworld. Gilgamesh's unrelenting anguish over the loss of his companion is described in Tablet 8, along with the specifics of Enkidu's funeral. In Tablets 9 through 11, Gilgamesh is described as traversing tremendous distances and overcoming numerous challenges in order to locate the dwelling of Utnapishtim, the only survivor of the tremendous flood, who was granted immortality by the gods. Gilgamesh is motivated by grief and the fear of his own death. The journey to Utnapishtim entails a series of episodic difficulties which likely began as significant standalone adventures but which are diminished in the epic to what Joseph Eddy Fontenrose refers to as fairly harmless incidents. Gilgamesh first runs into and kills lions in the mountain pass. When Gilgamesh arrives in the mountain of Mashu, he comes across a scorpion man and his wife. Their bodies flash with horrifying luminosity, but after Gilgamesh explains his mission, they let him pass. Before entering the light, Gilgamesh spends a total of 12 days lost in the shadows. He stumbles across a lovely garden near the water when he runs into Siduri, the divine alewife. She tries to stop Gilgamesh from going into the garden at first, but later she tries to convince him to accept death as a given and not go beyond the waters. When Gilgamesh declines to do this, she refers him to Urshanabi, the god's ferryman, who takes Gilgamesh across the sea to the land of Utnapishtim. When Gilgamesh eventually makes it to Utnapishtim's house, Utnapishtim informs Gilgamesh that he must resist sleep in order to become immortal. Gilgamesh is unable to do this and does not awaken for 7 days. Then, Utnapishtim informs him that even if he cannot become eternal, he can regain his youth by using a plant endowed with rejuvenation powers. To show how snakes are able to shed their skins, Gilgamesh takes the plant but abandons it on the shore while swimming. Gilgamesh, discouraged by his defeat, travels back to Uruk and shows the ferrymen Urshanabi his home city. The epic loses its ability to function as a coherent story at this point. The disappearance of the Piku and Miku is described in Tablet 12, an appendix to the Sumerian poem Gilgamesh, Enkidu, and the Netherworld. The story's many components show a lack of coherence with the earlier parts of the epic. Enkidu is still alive at the start of Tablet 12, despite having previously passed away in Tablet 7, while Gilgamesh is nice to Ishtar despite their violent rivalry shown in Tablet 6. Additionally, while the majority of the epic sections are loose adaptations of their respective Sumerian forebears, Tablet 12 is a direct translation of Gilgamesh, Enkidu, and the Netherworld's concluding section. For these grounds, academics conclude that this story was likely consigned to the epic's conclusion since it did not match the main story. In it, Enkidu's ghost appears to Gilgamesh and vows to find the misplaced objects, then explains the miserable state of the underworld to his companion. And that's all for the video today, but we'll be back with more soon. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel, and thanks for watching.